And hello again, everyone. I'm Chris Lincoln. Welcome to Oklahoma Sportscene in Tulsa, Oklahoma, and welcome back to Scheels at Woodland Hills Mall, the great super sports store. And here's the guy, the new marketing director of Scheels, Bobby Brown. Bobby, good to be back at Scheels.
Absolutely.
Congratulations. The opening October 19th. What's it been like in the almost month since?
Well, yeah, it's almost been a month, and it's been amazing. Tulsa was so welcoming before we opened, and then now that we're open, we've seen a lot of people come out and enjoy it. I know I've seen a lot of people say they were waiting till the crowd kind of died down. Well, I'm telling you, there's still a crowd. So it's been fantastic.
What kind of response have you had from people who just come in who didn't know or have any experience with the Scheels before?
I've had people I know sent me messages saying that they walked in and they had to go out and kind of take a breather because there was so much to take in. A lot of people saying they didn't realize, they knew it was a sports store, but they didn't realize it was that so much more. So I think people are pleasantly surprised.
Have there 75 different type of sections, I guess you call it. Also, how many square feet? 300,000?
313,000 square feet. Now, there's 200 of that. There's 250,000 square feet that's retail shopping.
Right.
The rest is going to be kind of your back stock and warehouse.
And of course, there's something for everyone, from the kids on up. And the first Scheels, I've been a big hit, except for the wait.
Yes, except for the wait. But it is kind of nice. I've been out front a couple of times, and I've seen families come in, and it's so awesome to see the kids' eyes light up as they look at the aquarium. Then they see the Ferris wheel. It's just really cool.
Excuse me, but big call there.
Yeah.
Now, of course, getting ready to the holiday season, what are some of the big events coming up for Scheels here for the Christmas holidays?
Well, just like all the retail stores, will have we call it day after Thanksgiving. We'll have some day after Thanksgiving specials. Different brands will be on sale, so we'll have that, and then just expect the large crowd to come in and do their holiday shopping.
Give us the basics again, the hours, the days here for Scheels, and when they can come out and enjoy this incredible facility.
Yeah, Monday through Saturday, we are 9:30 a.m. open and then close at 9 p.m., and then on Sundays, we're 10 to 6.
The marketing director, Bobby Brown, here at Scheels. Going out, it is an incredible experience. Let's give you our show lineup right now before I let Bobby go here. Eric Bailey, the Tulsa World, is going to join us. He's the OU beat writer, been covering the Sooners for almost 2 decades, and what's happened to Oklahoma football. He'll have a story on that for us. And Michael Knight is here, of course, to talk about high school football. The state playoffs move into the quarterfinals for the big schools. Eric Konkol, our head basketball coach, University of Tulsa, their men's coach, is going to be here on set at Scheels with us to talk about TU basketball this season. We're starting talking basketball now because football's over. We're dead with football. And the Tulsa Junior Oilers hockey coach. You get to meet him today, also on Oklahoma Sportscene. Well, let's start the show with our Big Four college football scoreboard from this past week and my grades on how the teams did. Thursday, the University of Tulsa hosted East Carolina. East Carolina won 38-31. Tulsa drops to 3-6, wipes out any chance they have to go to a bowl game and a winning season. But the TU Golden Hurricane had their chances. They fumbled going into the end zone early in the game. Then they got stopped 4th down late in the game at the goal line. I had to give them a grade C. The C was for effort, not for the results. And Saturday, only one of our area teams in action Saturday, as Arkansas hosted number 5 Texas. The Longhorns prevailed 20-10, outmatched by the Longhorns defense. Again, C was given an effort, but not a result. So last week, both OU and OSU had an open date. I gave both schools A+. By the way, someone sent me a text last week saying Oklahoma was actually beaten last week, beaten by and open 28-14. They gave 14 points in the 4th quarter. Not funny. Big Four football weekend this week, number 13, number 10 Alabama, 7-2 at Oklahoma, 5-5, 6:30 national television ABC. Texas Tech at Oklahoma State, 2:30 afternoon game on ESPN+, the Cowboys' final home game. Louisiana Tech at Arkansas as Arkansas gets their SEC break. That game 3 p.m. on SEC+. Here's this week's 12th Associated Press College Football National Poll. Top of the poll really hadn't changed this week at all. Oregon stayed at number 1 for the 5th straight week. Ducks are followed by Ohio State, Texas, Penn State, and Indiana. Just outside of that group, though, had losses by Tennessee and BYU that kind of reshaped the top 10 there. And after 12 weeks of the 2024 college football season, only 3 teams are left unbeaten. Number 1 ranked Oregon, 11-0. Number 5, Indiana, the big surprise of the year, 10-0. And number 18, Army, 9-0. And in the NFL, Sunday night's 30-21 loss by the Kansas City Chiefs at Buffalo ended the Chiefs' 15-game win streak that went back to last year's playoffs. Now, after 11 weeks, there are no unbeaten teams left in the NFL of the 32 teams. That means that the Miami Dolphins got to pop the cork again on their champagne bottle. It's the 1972 Dolphins' 17-0 record, still the only perfect record in recent NFL history. Tulsa Ice Holders are back off a successful 5-game road trip, winning 4 games, including Saturday night's 4-3 overtime win in Tahoe. The Oilers won their first series ever with Tahoe, taking 2 games out of 3. Tulsa returning home to the BOK Ice Center for games this Thursday against the Allen Americans at 7:05. Sunday at November 24th, afternoon game against the Utah Grizzlies. That's at 3:05. That game, by the way, starts with a pre-party at 1:30 in the BOK Grand Lobby. First 1,000 kids 12 and under get game day jerseys. Then after that game, you can come out down and paint the ice. That's this Sunday. TU wins back the Mayor's Cup. Tulsa men's basketball team ended Oral Roberts' 3-game win streak in the City Mayor's Cup Championship Series. 85-76 victory last Wednesday at the Reynolds Center. Hurricane head coach Eric Konkol joins us here on the set later in the show. On Sunday, the Oral Roberts women took their Mayor's Cup home. They beat the Tulsa women at TU 67-56. FC Tulsa Soccer has named a new head coach. Luke Spencer moves up from his role as an assistant coach, while the head coach, Mario Sanchez, will now be the team's technical director in charge of recruiting and securing new players. And while the Sooners football team struggles, the OU Women's National Championship softball and gymnastics squads have signed the nation's top recruiting classes for 2025. Eric Bailey, Tulsa World's OU football beat writer, on what's happened to the Sooners. That's next on Oklahoma Sports Scene.
Scheels is now open at the Woodland Hills Mall in Tulsa, and we can't thank you enough for the warm welcome. Whether you love the great outdoors, sports, or fashion, Scheels has something for everyone. Our passionate and knowledgeable Scheels experts are excited to welcome you to explore thousands of brands and premium products. From our golf simulator, service shop, archery lanes, and more, we're ready to get you fitted with the best gear for you. We can't wait to see you at Scheels.
The Tulsa Oilers return to the ice for another ice-melting year.
He shoots, he scores.
Sunday, November 24th, 3:05 at the BOK Center. The first 1,000 fans 12 and under get a free youth jersey. Bring the family, stay after the game, and paint the ice.
That's right, fans, come down and paint the ice.
Don't miss the ultimate in fast-paced entertainment.
It's turned over and going the other way.
Get your tickets now at TulsaOilers.com. It's smash-mouth, hard-hitting, pulse-pounding excitement.
Ooh, I can feel that one.
Tickets at TulsaOilers.com. This is your town, your team, your Tulsa Oilers hockey are back.
As the sun rises over eastern Oklahoma, we are devoted to one thing: improving the health of our communities, our home. We are your friends, your neighbors. We are the people of St. Francis.
Our story, it lives in Tulsa, where the spirit of the past lives alongside us and urges us on toward a vibrant future. Because our story is still being written. It's the story of Tulsa, told by the journalists who live it and love it. Whether it's covering our rich history, bringing you the hidden gems of the food scene, or following the action in local sports. And here, in the Tulsa world, is where it comes to life.
Well, the Oklahoma Sooners football team with just 2 games remaining on the regular season schedule, 5-5, 1-5, and 13th place in the 16-team SEC Conference. To secure a winning season, all they've got to do to keep the nation's second longest consecutive streak of going to 25 bowls in a row going is to beat either nationally ranked Alabama this Saturday night at Norman, 6:30 on ABC national television, or try the next week to go to Baton Rouge, where they call the Death Stadium there, and take on the LSU Tigers in that crazy atmosphere down at LSU. Otherwise, there may be a losing season for OU and the end of a bowl streak. Eric Bailey, a beat writer for the Oklahoma Sooners, been on the beat since 2012. Insider information from Eric all the time with us on the show. But like us, he's never been through a season quite like this. So I asked Eric, how did this happen to the Oklahoma Sooners?
Really, we knew it was going to be tough with a new offensive coordinator, and we knew that there'd be some issues a little bit with a new starting quarterback, but I don't think we expected it to unravel like it did. But we thought there'd be steady improvement as the year went along. We haven't seen that improvement, and it's just been a tough year for the Sooners. Defensively, we saw what we expected this year, but offensively, it's been tough from game one. You expected some bumps in the non-conference season, but there just hasn't been any improvement. We saw a change in offensive coordinator. We saw some shuffling, some rotating at the quarterback position. Offensive line was always going to be an issue, and it has been. We didn't expect the injuries at the wide receiver position. So now we're kind of where we're at with 2 games to go, 2 tough games to go at Alabama at home and then at LSU with 1 game needed to get bowl eligibility. Just a tough year, 5-5 going into the final 2 games of the season.
Well, going back to August, Eric, the SEC media poll had the Sooners pick 8th in the middle of the SEC conference behind Georgia, Texas, Alabama, Ole Miss, LSU, Missouri, and Tennessee, and ahead of Texas A&M, Auburn, Kentucky, Florida, South Carolina, Arkansas, Mississippi State, and Vanderbilt. Then magazines that the experts we all count on, Lindy's magazine, their preseason, Athlon Sports, they had these things. Widespread belief, Lindy said that Jackson Arnold is the next great Oklahoma quarterback. Jury's still out on the Sooners' rebuilt offensive line. Receivers, the strength of the offense. Defense, solid. 11 of the top 13 tackles returned. Brutal inaugural schedule. Athlon Sports said they picked OU 8th. Said defense is solid. Kicking game strength as well. Final analysis. This is from Athlon Sports. The Sooners once owned the Big 12, but they slumped in the closing 3 seasons, failing to even make the championship game. The time in the league has been down. Stunningly, OU has not produced a first-team All-American since 2019. This hardly represents a positive momentum for a shift into the country's dominant conference. We had some warning signs early on.
Yeah, and that's what we kind of wondered is, given the schedule that Oklahoma was going to play in the conference, we knew it was going to be tough. It was going to be hard with Tennessee on the schedule. Of course, we're looking at Alabama and LSU coming up. You're always going to have Texas on the schedule. Going to Auburn was going to be hard. The schedule itself in conference play was going to be hard with 7 bowl teams from the year before. 7 of the 8 teams on the conference schedule were against bowl opponents. So Oklahoma was going to have a tough schedule no matter what. Even Oklahoma in its prime playing this kind of schedule was going to be hard. So we knew the schedule was hard. But then you factor in the injuries, you factor in the inexperience at quarterback, you factor in the raw offensive line, and it was going to be hard. My prediction going into the season was 8-4. And then when we factored in the injuries at wide receiver, I kind of dipped to 7-5. And right now, going into the last 2 games, my 7-5 prediction is still alive. But I just don't know how they'd get there because of the schedule in front of them with Alabama and LSU. It's just hard. And Brent Venables now he faces hiring a new offensive coordinator going into the offseason. He faces really trying to rebuild the fan base and trying to show that he's the guy and keeping together a recruiting base that he really needs to really fix things. And year 4 is going to be such an important year. And guess what, Chris? The schedule doesn't change next year either. The only thing that changes on this conference schedule is you go to Alabama, you go to South Carolina, you go to some of these same places, and then you go to Tennessee. I mean, it doesn't change. You just flip home and away on this conference schedule. And by the way, you get Michigan on the schedule next year too. Nothing changes about the schedule. It's just going to be just as hard next year too. So it's going to be hard. 2025 is going to be just as hard as 2024.
Eric Bailey, Tulsa World's OU beat writer for the past 12 seasons here. Eric, let's go back to the OU schedule here and take a look. The first 3 games, Temple 51-3 at home, Houston 16-12, Tulane 34-19, then Tennessee came into town. Looking back on that, Oklahoma actually had some chance to win that game, but they had a change at quarterback. The superstar recruit Jackson Arnold out and young Michael Hawkins in, and that was the way it was for the next 3 games.
Yeah, and you know what? It's funny because that seems like so long ago, and that was the first warning sign of the quarterback issues. We saw Jackson Arnold with the turnovers, and that's what caused his issues. The turnovers, and that's why they went to Michael Hawkins in that game. Jackson Arnold made some silly mistakes, and that's when they turned to Hawkins to start the next game. And then a couple weeks later, Hawkins had his issues at against South Carolina with the turnovers in the first couple of series, and they went back to Arnold. And it's just been kind of a repeat performance with the quarterback play, inconsistency. And we saw the turnover issues again in Oklahoma's last game with Jackson Arnold turning the ball over. And it's something that's just been really problematic with the Oklahoma offense. And I'm really curious as we go into this season if Michael Hawkins will get a chance against Alabama, because at this point you wonder what's there to lose. I mean, Oklahoma's starting to find a little bit with Joe John Finley calling plays now that Seth Luttrell has been let go. The run game showed a little bit of life to it. And maybe you bring in another quarterback just to see what you can get out of Michael Hawkins with this run game. I don't know. Or maybe it's just too late. Maybe you just stay with Jackson Arnold. The issues have been turnovers all year, especially with Jackson Arnold. That Missouri game was tough to watch for Oklahoma fans because they had fought back, they had found a way to take the lead, and to lose that game in the final 2 minutes of the game, you seemed like you were going to win. That was tough.
Well, Seth Luttrell was let go after that South Carolina game, and then of course we had Ole Miss played well with Joe John Phillips, the offensive coordinator there. I think I've solved our problem though, Eric. If we could just schedule Maine for 12 games next year.
That was
great.
Yeah, and that's what they needed. They needed that game, and you really felt like the way that they were able to build confidence. You wonder if that could carry over, but yet, the two longest pass plays against Missouri were the one pass play by a punter and one pass play by a running back, and that's not good when you're trying to reorganize this offense. So it's been tough, and you just didn't see that momentum carry over from the main game.
And in the middle of this month, all of a sudden, here come the rumors, the talks, and the questions. What is the future of the third-year head coach of the Sooners, Brent Venables? Right away, the Sooners circle the wagons. Joe Castiglione, the University president, board reads also, no, he's our guy. We're supporting him. Well, he's also got a $44.8 million buyout. How confident are we that Brent is okay?
Yeah, I think the buyout has a lot to do with that. That's a lot of money. And if you think about it, Chris, if you buy out Brent Venables, you're going to have to hire another coach, which is going to come also with a hefty price tag. So, it'd be almost $100 million investment if you make a coaching change, because the new coach's contract would almost be identical. So, 45 million times 2 is $90 million. That's your monetary investment. And then you have to let go of the current staff and pay them off. And then you have to pay for a new coaching staff. You add it all up, it comes up to like $100 million investment pretty fast. And then you want to do stadium renovations. And then you got the NIL game. It just gets really costly, really fast. So if you're going to invest in anything, you probably invest in Brent. You invest in an offensive coordinator that you want to get in. You pay him a lot of money, and you invest in NIL. You invest in trying to get the best athletes that you can to get in. I think Brent Venables, he's learning on the job still. We're seeing that, but his defense is almost elite right now. And I think if you can just find the right guy at offensive coordinator to run the offense, there's still hope for Oklahoma fans. And we'll see what happens in the years to come.
Well, it's another important date. It's going to be coming up soon. The portal opens. I don't know if we're going to go Deion Sanders with the portal the way he did at Colorado, but the results are pretty impressive up at Colorado now, fighting for the Big 12 championship. How important is the portal going to be to rebuild this Oklahoma team immediately?
We see it every year. We see it every year how big it is, and I think it's huge once again this year. I think you have to go out and get the best players. The hard thing for Oklahoma is where they need the most help is offensive line, and it's so hard to bring in offensive linemen. First of all, you want quality offensive linemen, and everybody wants quality offensive linemen. But Oklahoma, that's a spot where it's not like any other position where if you can get a defensive back or you can get a wide receiver where they can come in and make an impact right away. Offensive line, you need guys that can mesh and work together and build chemistry. But if in Oklahoma's case, it'd be great if you get 5 great offensive linemen to come in and fix things. But it just takes time for that unit to come together. But if you can get 1 or 2 really good offensive linemen to come in, that would be big. But always the transfer portal is going to be big for Oklahoma. Now, the key for the Oklahoma is, there'll be guys entering the transfer portal too. And Oklahoma needs to hang on to as much young talent as they can. And it goes both ways. And I'm really curious to see if there's any surprising names that leave Oklahoma too. That's the thing we have to really keep an eye on. I haven't heard any rumors, anyone leaving, but there's always some surprises. So that's what we're going to have to keep an eye on this time.
Eric, I know the University is very proud of the fact that they're second in the nation, only behind Georgia, in consecutive bowl trips, 25 in a row. 25 seasons have gone to bowl game. Do you have any hope that we can get a 6th win at Alabama or LSU to keep that streak alive?
That's what you got to preach. If you're a coach on that team, you're playing for pride. If you're in that locker room at Oklahoma, that's what you really preach to this football team. You say you're playing for pride, you're playing for that extra game. In Oklahoma, who knows? It's for the seniors this week. It's their last time to play on that field against a big name opponent. You preach that all week. You go out there and win on your last home game. And for LSU, going to the LSU game, that's going to be tough going down there and playing LSU. But they've lost 3 in a row, and they're kind of reeling a little bit. So maybe you go and you try to steal one down there. It's going to be hard, Chris, to win either of those games, given the offensive difficulties that they've had. But Oklahoma really needs to get to a bowl game because they really, really need those extra practices. That's what they really need. They need those extra practices. Forget the streak, which is really impressive. It's been since Bob Stoops' first year in '99 that they haven't been to a bowl game. It was John Blake's last year where they didn't go to a bowl game. So it's very important to go, but forget the streak. They really need the more practices, the more workouts. They need momentum going into next year. That's huge. So they just need to try to find a way, any way possible, to pull up a major upset on Saturday against Alabama or another major upset at LSU. It's going to be very difficult, but we'll see what Brent Venables can pull out.
Eric Brady, beat writer of the Tulsa World. Eric, for God's sakes, let me open the Tulsa World Sunday morning and read a positive story, huh?
Chris, we'll see what happens. Thanks a bunch for having me on. It's always good talking to you.
Michael Knight's on deck, and we're going to talk about the high school football playoffs that moved to the quarterfinals. Stay with us on Oklahoma Sports Scene.
Around the clock, throughout eastern Oklahoma, we are devoted to one thing: improving the health of our communities, our home. We are your friends, your neighbors. We are the people of St. Francis.
Founded in 1960, Ed Bashira's Formal Wear and Fine Clothing has been dressing gentlemen for over half a century. We are family-owned and operated, offering premium brand tuxedos and accessories in our Tulsa store on South Harvard. Bashira's also does made-to-measure suits, sports coats, dress shirts, and slacks, and a top line of sportswear. We do tailoring on-site to assure the perfect fit, so you will look your very best for that special occasion. Ed Bashira's Formal Wear and Fine Clothing, an Oklahoma tradition.
Our story. It lives in Tulsa, where the spirit of the past lives alongside us and urges us on toward a vibrant future. Because our story is still being written. It's the story of Tulsa, told by the journalists who live it and love it. Whether it's covering our rich history, bringing you the hidden gems of the food scene, or following the action in local sports. And here, in the Tulsa world, is where it comes to life.
Well, last week was the start of high school football state playoffs in Oklahoma. One and done time. Michael Knight is with us here, of course, from Prep Redzone Oklahoma.com. And Michael, great start to the playoffs, great football action, big quarterfinal games coming up this weekend for all the classes, right?
Yeah, when 2A, A, and B split into 2 divisions, it allowed every single class to have the same amount of teams, which means the playoffs have the same amount of rounds. Before, some classes would be in the quarterfinals, other classes would be in what they call the second round. So now everybody has the same amount. It's quarterfinal week, and we have some great matchups.
Where were you last weekend?
So I made some trips around the Tulsa area. I went and saw Wagner. They took care of business against Poto. I also took in some action at Rejoice Christian. They really took care of business against Nowata in the first round. And then I finished the night at Cassia Hall, and that was one of the more surprising outcomes of the first round.
Yeah, they're done, right?
Yeah, Cassia Hall, district champions, one of the top teams in Class 3A. They lose to Shakota, who has one of the best players in the state in Elijah Thomas. He's committed to OU. He's one of the best players in Oklahoma, and he has been for a while now. And he performed incredibly well. Shakota, a lot of you ask the people around Shakota, they say it's not an upset. They came to Cassia Hall expecting to get a win, and they did just that.
I went to Union Tuttle Stadium there for the game. Tulsa Union not really ready to play first round playoff games. It's not usual for them, but they hosted Mustang. And they were a little struggle early, but then Spencer Rattler,
Shaker
Reiser got caught fire and put them on at the end there. So now they're on to quarterfinal again. What a quarterfinal is going to be at Jenks.
Yeah, a lot of people thought that Union and Jinx would face off in the playoffs again this year. They probably didn't think it was going to happen as early as the quarterfinals, but that's what we have. Union lost in the last week. It dropped them to the 3 seed, which opened the door for this possibility. You go back and look at that regular season matchup, and a couple things really stand out. It's the Union defense, the way they held Jinx and their offense out of the end zone altogether. I know the officiating towards the end was a big storyline that came out of that game. But Jinx has had Union's number in the playoffs. This is going to be I believe the 3rd or 4th time they've met in the playoffs in the last 6 years. Jinx has won all of them, including last year in the semifinals. They stunned Union. Union led that game 21-3, 21-0 in the semifinals a year ago, and Jinx beat them with a KD Jones touchdown in the final minute. So it's without a doubt the best game in 6A1 this week. You have Norman North going to Bixby. Norman North is playing really good football right now, but Bixby, I mean, let's face it, they're still Bixby. You have Norman at Edmond Memorial. Norman obviously grabbing a lot of headlines with their Week 10 win over Bixby. Edmond Memorial doing the same with their win over Union. Owasso, they're hosting Deer Creek. Deer Creek just beat Broken Arrow last week. So a lot of really good games in 6A1, but Jinx Union is the headliner for sure.
Who do you think is going to move on out of 6A1 under the semifinals?
You know, it's really hard to not pick the favorites. I think that Jinx probably takes care of business there. Bixby, Owasso, they both take care of business. Norman and Edmond Memorial, honestly, it's a coin flip, but man, I'm going with Edmond Memorial, but it would not surprise me at all if Norman won.
It's coming to Scheels this afternoon, and felt the Rich said, hey, I'm a rougher. I think we're going to win two in a row. They're a heck of a football team down there, doing a great job.
Yeah, they're the favorites in 6A2. You look at that class with the quarterfinal matchups. They're hosting Putnam City, and I think they take care of business there. And honestly, that could set up a semifinal rematch with Stillwater. Those two met in the championship game a year ago. Stillwater has PC North. You have Sapulpa going to Choctaw, Piedmont going to Sand Springs, but it's a really top-heavy class in 6A2 where you have those top 4 teams, Muskogee, Choctaw, Stillwater, and Sand Springs. I think all 4 of those teams advance, but look out for Piedmont. They could make things interesting at Sand Springs.
We kind of featured Booker T. Washington, their amazing turnaround from last year's 2-8 to 8-2, regular season district champions. Head coach Dan Benson on the show last week. What's the situation with them and the playoffs now heading to quarterfinals?
They play the best game of the week in Class 5A this week in the quarterfinals. They're hosting Guthrie. Those are 2 traditional powerhouses. When you got Booker T and Guthrie, you think about all the championships that those teams won. Back when Booker T was in Class 5A a little over a decade ago, Guthrie had it rolling back then too. Guthrie looks really good. They're playing great football. Newcastle is hosting Pryor. That's a game that I'm going to at least see part of on Friday night. Carl Albert hosting Claremore. Del City hosting Bishop McGinnis. But when you look at Class 5A, that Booker T. Guthrie matchup, I think the winner of that game has a legitimate shot to make it to the state championship game. They're on the opposite side of the bracket of Carl Albert and Del City. So the winner of that Booker T. Guthrie game could find their way to Edmond here in a couple weeks.
But Carl Albert is still the big dog.
Yeah, I mean, there's no doubt. When you look at all the classes, Carl Albert might be the heaviest favorite out of all of them because they're so talented on both sides of the ball. They haven't lost a game since, I believe, September of 2022. So it's been a while. They expect to be there. They're playing really good football. Their defense is out of this world. So 5A, until further notice, is Carl Albert's domain.
All right, take us through some of the other classes. What games have kind of caught your eye while watching?
Yeah, Class 4A, I mentioned I'm going to check out Newcastle. I'm also going to check out Choctaw. I'm going to finish the night in Tuttle. They're hosting Hilldale. Ada hosting Bethany. Wagner hosting Clinton. Elgin hosting Sallisaw in Class 4A. That Ada-Bethany matchup is interesting. Ada just won the first round game against Cushing 53-50. Defense was optional in that one. Ada's quarterback threw for over 550 yards in that victory. So Ada taking on Bethany, that's going to be a matchup that I'm looking forward to. In Class 3A, you go down to Southern Oklahoma. Sulphur hosting Idabel is going to be an interesting game to me. One interesting note with Class 3A, and we haven't really talked about this over the last couple of weeks, for about 3 or 4 years now, the Class 3A state championship game has been between two private schools. And that's always been a big storyline with the private versus public in Class 3A. And Lincoln Christian is still there, Heritage Hall is still there, Holland Hall is still there, but they're all on the same side of the bracket. So this is the first year since, I believe, 2018, 2019, that there will not be a private versus private state championship game in Class 3A. It's either going to be Idabel, Sulphur, Shakota, or Bristow. I know there's a lot of people, mostly from all from public schools, let's be honest, that are really happy about that fact. But that class is a class that I think Lincoln Christian is the hands-down favorite there. 2A1, monster matchup in the quarterfinals as Metro Christian takes on Jones. Metro Christian undefeated during the regular season, had a terrific season, but they haven't really been tested. This is going to be their biggest test of the year to date. And unfortunately for them, it's just how the bracket shook out. Metro goes 10-0 in the regular season, absolutely dominant, but they get Jones, a top 5 team in the quarterfinals. If they win this game, they'll more than likely face two-time champion Washington in the semifinals. That's just the way it shook out, unfortunately, for Metro Christian. Class 2A2, one of the biggest games of the week, Adair hosting Davis. That's kind of a throwback to about a decade ago when both of those teams were two of the best in Class 2A. Class A1, how about this? You have quarterfinal matchups where the top 4 teams in that class are all facing off. Again, it's just the way the bracket shook out. You have Rejoice Christian hosting two-time champion Fairview. You have Hooker hosting Pecola. And I sent a message to Pecola head coach Jason Parker over the weekend because his team is going about 450 miles west from Pecola to Hooker. I was like, are you guys flying? You flying in for that one? You leaving on Thursday? He was like, we actually are leaving on Thursday.
I think so.
It's a pretty lengthy trip. So
you know that trip.
Yeah, not that far. It's pretty far, but Pecola on eastern Oklahoma, right there on the border of Arkansas. Not a short trip, but that's going to be a heck of a game out there in the Panhandle for sure.
All right, for all the highlights, all the information, and all the things you need to know about these playoffs, get into his website here, OklahomaPrepRedzone.com. How do they do that?
Yeah, just check us out, PrepRedzone.com/Oklahoma. Really easy to find. You can subscribe. We've been throwing the coupon code out there. Just enter NIGHT25. That'll save you 25% off a subscription. And then you'll get access to all of our stuff. We have quarterfinal preview stuff up throughout the week this week. We'll start putting out semifinal preview stuff throughout the weekend. So new stuff every single day on Prep Redzone Oklahoma.
OklahomaPrepRedzone.com. Michael Knight, the insider, with us, of course, throughout the playoffs. We'll be right back with more on Oklahoma Sports Scene. Stay right there.
Scheels is now open at the Woodland Hills Mall in Tulsa, and we can't thank you enough for the warm welcome. Whether you love the great outdoors, sports, or fashion, Scheels has something for everyone. Our passionate and knowledgeable Scheels experts are excited to welcome you to explore thousands of brands and premium products. From our golf simulator, service shop, archery lanes, and more, we're ready to get you fitted with the best gear for you. We can't wait to see you at Scheels.
The Oklahoma Sports Hall of Fame, home of the Paycom Jim Thorpe Award, is a treasure trove of memorabilia honoring Oklahoma sports legends. For museum hours or to schedule a tour, go to oklahomasportshalloffame.org.
This holiday season, experience the magic of Midtown Tulsa's indoor winter wonderland at the Wee Street Ice Center, December 13th to January 5th. Skate on the best indoor ice in Tulsa, ride the enchanting train, and experience snow indoors that'll leave you feeling like you're in a winter fairy tale. Kids will love pictures with Santa, plus special holiday activities. Don't miss out on the season's best family fun. For a full list of activities and times, visit WeStreetIceCenter.com, where every day is a snow day.
As the sun rises over eastern Oklahoma, we are devoted to one thing: improving the health of our communities, our home. We are your friends, your neighbors. We are the people of St. Francis.
And we welcome into Oklahoma Sports Scene, head men's basketball coach at the University of Tulsa, Eric Konkol, in the third season. Coach, thank you so much for basketball starting here. Football has been a disaster in all three schools in the state.
Well, I always enjoy talking basketball with you, Chris. It's great to be here at Scheels.
Yeah.
My first time at this place.
Yeah, what do you think of this place?
Beautiful. I've been to some Scheels before in other locations, but this is as good as it gets right here in Tulsa.
Amazing. Talking about disastrous football season, give a little update here, Coach. Oklahoma State 0-7, last of the Big 12. Oklahoma 1-5, 13th in the SEC of 16 teams. Tulsa 1-5, last in the American Athletic Conference. So, boy, it's good to talk basketball. Coach, off to a good start this season, too.
Well, thank you. Yeah, we've gotten off to a good start. We won our first three, and then we had a tough triple overtime loss at Missouri State over the weekend. Certainly had our chances, but a lot of good things that we've seen that we can build on.
In his third season here at the University of Tulsa as the head coach, but I don't know if people are aware of this, Coach. You actually started your career at TU. You've come kind of full circle.
It's great to be back, and Tulsa is such a great place to be. I felt that as a young graduate assistant back in 2000, 2001.
That was Buzz Peterson, the coach then?
With Buzz Peterson,
right.
That one season, and then I joined his staff at Tennessee the following year, and then had a path that brought me back here to TU 2.5 years ago, and love being here, my family and I, and we're excited about the things happening at 11th and Harvard.
So your coaching journey, though, has been first here at Tulsa, then stops at the University of Tennessee, George Mason, Miami of Florida. First had a coaching job, though, at Louisiana Tech. And then what drew you to return to Tulsa, one of the smallest Division I schools? I'm always amazed that the TU enrollment, 3,705. But boy, we always fight above our weight class, don't we?
Well, I had a really good job at Louisiana Tech with wonderful people, and looked here at the University of Tulsa as a great opportunity to build a program back up. And of course that there was some nostalgia involved. This is where I got my start. I have great memories of being here, and not just the success that we had with Coach Peterson, but the welcome arms that people had when I came here. It was my first time ever leaving the state of Wisconsin where I grew up, but in the American Athletic Conference, in a multiple bid league, at a place with great tradition, in a city that appreciates good basketball, we felt like this was a great opportunity to build something, and we've been building.
Haven't it? Back last season, Eric, your team improved by 11 wins, over the most in the AAC, with 6 more wins in the conference there. So what was part of the quick turnaround?
Well, we were able to recruit well. We were able to bring some good talent into the program, and we were able to get better as the year went on. We were the youngest team in the league last year. We had the freshman of the year. We had 2 other guys on the all-freshman team, which is a little bit different. But at TU, with the academic qualifications and all those types of things, we still believe in signing freshmen. And then sprinkling in a junior college player or a 4-year transfer. But we got better as the year went on, Chris, and we were able to win 4 of our last 6. We beat a ranked team. We beat another top 3 team in the league. 8 of those guys are back, 6 of them scholarship players. So we've got a nice core this year that we're building on.
Got to a quick start, as you mentioned, 3-0, all home games here. But I was at that Mayor's Cup game last Wednesday, and that was a big one for TU. I didn't realize Robertson won the last 3 Mayor's Cups. Kind of nice to have the trophy case at the University of Tulsa, isn't it?
It is. Anytime you play for a trophy, you want to have it. Yeah. And my first 2 years here that we lost, once at home and once away. So it's something that we were really looking forward to. It's great to celebrate basketball in our great state of Oklahoma, being one of just 4 Division I teams, 2 of them right here in Tulsa. So to play for the Mayor's Cup was important for us.
I think Oral Roberts has a chance for a good season too. It looks like, Eric, that transfer from Kansas is a pretty good shooter.
Yeah, Isaac McBride's a good player, and he had a big night against us, and we were able to try to make him work for it.
Yeah.
But of course, we're hoping that they have a very nice season, as do we hope all the other teams in the state. Of course, we have Oklahoma State coming here on December 4th.
Look forward to that.
So we'll play 2 out of the 3 possible Division I teams, but some great games ahead.
Now, just coming off a wild triple overtime game at Missouri State, the first road trip of the season. And boy, you guys really battled. You were down by a bunch in the second half there. In fact, I think just 4:20 left in the game. You're down still by 13 points. Really came back, battled hard, and some of your young players there had some career nights.
It was our first road trip, as you said. we didn't play well, and sometimes it's really important to, or many times it's important to find a way to just get yourself back into the game. And we were down 13 with just a few minutes left. Next thing you know, we tie it. We have a shot to win it. Game keeps going to overtime. We make a half-court shot to send it to another overtime. It was a wild game. We just didn't have enough to make that one extra play to come away with that win.
Newcomers, though, Justin Amati had a career-best 24 points. Dewan Odom had his best 20 points. And Braden Carrington had his career-best 20 points, including that half-court shot go to the second overtime.
It was great to see production on those guys. And all those guys have joined us this year as four-year transfers, 2 of them as graduate transfers, and then Braden Carrington as an undergraduate transfer. He's got another year of eligibility after this. But to see those guys integrate with the returners has been fun. They're great people. We got a great group of guys, Chris, and we're excited about the journey ahead.
Let's have a really nice mix. 8 returners, and then you had 7 newcomers, including 4 from the transfers, but then 3 from high school.
So we added another walk-on, a local product, Cal Conroy from Bishop Kelly, to go along with 2 of our other walk-ons, and Ari Scheels, Shea Scheels' son, and then Ben Radford, who graduated from Tulsa Memorial. So we've got some Tulsa ties that way. But then we did sign 2 freshmen that are both playing. Ian Schmeichel, a 6'8" forward from Florida, and 6'2" Jay Nash, a point guard from Memphis, Tennessee. So again, we look for balance in our roster, guys that we can develop and grow with, along with bringing in some older players with some experience behind them.
Eric Konkol, head men's basketball coach at the University of Tulsa. Eric, let's talk about the impact of the transfer portal and NIL, name, image, likeness.
It's here to stay, Chris. Wow. I mean, you know, it's one of those things that as early days happened with NIL was really kind of a dirty word to people. And whether your feelings are strong one way or the other, it's just a big part of what's happening. Now, there's some legislation coming that could change how it operates, will come more in-house, but it's a big part of college athletics now. And we're growing, we're trying to get better and better in that regard.
I know TU fans are always asking, how can they help? They understand Tulsa with such a small enrollment, small alumni base, really a disadvantage when it comes to trying to put up millions and millions of dollars for NIL money.
Well, we've got a unique position here that we can really be the city's program here in Tulsa. And even though we're small in numbers and alums, we have alumni that are doing very well for themselves in business. And businesses can get involved as well. And then whether you went to TU or not, being in this region, being in this area code, there's a great opportunity to be involved, whether it's through monetary gifts, but through your business relationships. We've got a number of things, number of ways for people to help us raise funds to accelerate our growth in the NIL space and also in the things that we're doing internally.
We taped this show on a Monday here at Scheels. The show will air for the first time on Wednesday at 10:30, which means by then Tulsa will have their 4th victory. They're taking on Little Rock, and then that's it as far as home games in November. Then you're on the road, right? Got a tournament too.
Yeah, we're in the midst of 4 games and 4 out of 5 on the road. So we just played the game at Missouri State. We've got Little Rock, who's picked to win the Ohio Valley Conference. They've got a really good team here on Wednesday. They just picked up a road win at UTSA in our league. And then we play at Loyola Chicago on Saturday, who's picked to be at the top of the Atlantic 10. And then we go to Jacksonville, Florida to play 2 games, one against Detroit and another against Georgia State. So big stretch for us coming up.
One of the biggest home games of the season, it's one they're promoting as the game on the schedule for University of Tulsa. The Oklahoma State Cowboys come riding in here from Stillwater. That game, everybody looking forward to that one on Wednesday, December the 4th. It really is a game you want to be at Reynolds Center.
Well, that's the type of events that we want, right?
Yeah.
And, you know, I know from the days, and it's growing, our attendance in the last 2 years has increased by 30%. The Mayor's Cup game last Wednesday had a lot of electricity to it. And we want to keep creating great events on campus. Our president, Brad Carson, our athletic director, Justin Moore, just continue to invest in the game day experience for our fans. And we're looking forward not just to this home game coming up on Wednesday against Little Rock, but the OSU game on December 4th and all the other ones coming.
We'll have Coach Konkol back to talk about the American Athletic Conference. That conference season begins in January for the team, but we wish you all the best right now. Thanks for joining us, Eric. I know it's a crazy time for you as well, but we're just happy to not talk football right now. It's been a bad football season for everybody.
Well, I love talking about the orange ball that bounces for sure. But thanks for having me on, Chris.
Next on Oklahoma Sports Scene, from Scheels at Woodland Hills Mall, we have the junior ice Oilers. We're talking to their new head coach. Stay right there with us.
The Tulsa Oilers return to the ice for another ice-melting year. He shoots, he scores. Sunday, November 24th, 3:05 at the BOK Center. The first 1,000 fans 12 and under get a free youth jersey. Bring the family, stay after the game, and paint the ice. That's right, fans. Come down and paint the ice. Don't miss the ultimate in fast-paced entertainment. It's turned over and going the other way. Get your tickets now at TulsaOilers.com. It's smash-mouth, hard-hitting, punch-pounding excitement. Ooh, I can feel that one. Tickets at TulsaOilers.com. This is your town, your team, your Tulsa Oilers hockey are back.
Around the clock, throughout eastern Oklahoma, we are devoted to one thing: improving the health of our communities, our home. We are your friends, your neighbors. We are the people of St. Francis.
Thoroughbred season at Remington Park continues into December with plenty of winning primetime action. The final evening of the season will feature horses trying to reach the 2025 Kentucky Derby by competing in the Springboard Mile. Remington Park's top 2-year-old stakes event of the year leads a stakes-filled program. The normal Remington Park Racing Week is Wednesday through Saturday, first race nightly 6:30 p.m. Special Monday and Tuesday racing happens in late November at 2:30 p.m. Visit RemingtonPark.com for all post times, group rates, and dining reservations.
Hey, we have a new hockey club here in town, the Tulsa Junior Ice Oilers. After 3 recent road games in New Mexico, the young Oilers return for home games at the Wee Street Ice Center. This weekend, hosting El Paso, Friday, November 22nd, that's at 7 p.m. They'll play again Saturday night at 7 p.m., then Sunday afternoon at 1 p.m. Its head coach, Zach Desjardins, joins us on Oklahoma Sports Scene from their home at the Wee Street Ice Center. Coach, before we talk about this team, let's talk about you. What's your hockey background?
So I grew up playing hockey at the age of 3, started in Colorado, played up until I was a senior in high school. And then after that, I actually moved to Canada, played up there for 3 years at this same level or a little bit higher than what these guys are down here. And then went to school, and then I just got straight into coaching, and I've been doing that for almost 20 years now.
NA3HL, North American 3 Hockey League.
Yeah.
Explain that to us.
So the NA3 is just a junior league for 16 to 20-year-olds that are looking to play up at the NA level, which is a step above us. So if you look at like baseball, we would probably be like AA baseball, and then the NA would be AAA, and then there's the USHL, which would be Major League. But these kids are coming here to play, to get experience and exposure to play at that level, and then also looking at going to NCAA or ACHA hockey.
Kids are 16 to 20 years old. They actually pay what you'd say is almost like a tuition to be in this school of hockey.
Yeah, they do have to pay a little bit of a tuition to be here. I mean, but that covers a lot of their ice time here. That covers their ice time. We give them a lot of perks here. Being partners with the big Oilers in the ECHL. So we get some of their bonuses as well. But that also takes care of their travel, because we do travel from, we play all the way out in New Mexico to 4 different cities in Texas, Louisiana, and then we also go out to Atlanta for the season for our competition. And then in December, we're going to Blaine, Minnesota. So their tuition covers all that. And, the nice thing is these players are also staying with host families here in town.
Oh, nice, yeah.
And so, they get, even though they're away from home, they still have some good care taking care of them.
This season runs from September into March there. Long season.
Yeah, it's a long season. It's grueling. I mean, it's just like what, most sports are doing, but it's pretty jam-packed. Like, we play pretty much every weekend, with a here and there of a weekend off, but, we're always playing, and we practice 5 days a week, so we're always on the ice.
What do you think of this facility, huh?
Oh, this is an amazing facility. I was here. I started coaching out here in Tulsa about 10 years ago, left, and I came back, and this is a beautiful facility here.
The Tulsa Oilers have such a great history of hockey in this town. Surprises a lot of people. Over 90 years they've been playing hockey here in this city.
Yeah, it's amazing. When I first moved here 10 years ago, started coaching this level as well. I was amazed on just not only the people that are involved with the hockey, but the history that was here. You know, you look at all the old players that still live here that used to play for the Oilers, and then you have like Gary Unger that's still around. Like, I mean, he's a great historian for hockey and spokesperson for the sport. So to have him here in town and people like them, it just helps that tradition of hockey grow.
And of course, the sport of hockey needs these younger talent coming up. What is the next step for these kids? What are they trying to accomplish here?
So the players here are trying to accomplish is, one, like I said, trying to move up a level, or trying to get that scholarship to go play NCAA hockey, or trying to get to a school like OU, which is club hockey, but OU and UCO and OSU are all top-ranked programs at that level. So these players are hoping to get noticed by those teams and get an opportunity to go to school there as well.
What's the practice schedule like? Are fans welcome to come out?
Oh yeah, fans are always welcome to come out. You know, we've been practicing mid-afternoons. We usually go 12:30 to 2:45, but some days we go 2:30 to 4. So it's just in between those times there.
Are you using the same type of system as the Oilers, or are you on your own?
You know what? I use sort of the same system because I used to actually work with Coach Murray here. You know,
how many years you were here?
I was here for 5 years with the ECHL team. So I learned a lot from him. Obviously, he's a great teacher, a great mentor. It's sort of nice sharing a wall for offices here the last couple weeks because I'll go pop in, ask him questions. He's been to all our games, home games so far this year. So he's given me some advice and some pointers. So it's been good to bounce things off of him.
And next, Oklahoma Sportscene takes you to Oklahoma City, Remington Park. A Remington Park report with Dale Day is straight ahead.
This holiday season, experience the magic of Midtown Tulsa's indoor winter wonderland at the Wee Street Ice Center, December 13th to January 5th. Skate on the best indoor ice in Tulsa, ride the enchanting train, and experience snow indoors that'll leave you feeling like you're in a winter fairy tale. Kids will love pictures with Santa, plus special holiday activities. Don't miss out on the season's best family fun. For a full list of activities and times, visit WeStreetIceCenter.com, where every day is a snow day.
Founded in 1960, Ed Bashira's formal wear and fine clothing has been dressing gentlemen for over half a century. We are family owned and operated, offering premium brand tuxedos and accessories in our Tulsa store on South Harvard. Bashira's also does made-to-measure suits, sports coats, dress shirts, and slacks, and a top line of sportswear. We do tailoring on site to assure the perfect fit so you will look your very best for that special occasion. Ed Bashira's formal wear and fine clothing, an Oklahoma tradition.
Scheels is now open at the Woodland Hills Mall in Tulsa, and we can't thank you enough for the warm welcome. Whether you love the great outdoors, sports, or fashion, Scheels has something for everyone. Our passionate and knowledgeable Scheels experts are excited to welcome you to explore thousands of brands and premium products. From our golf simulator, service shop, archery lanes, and more, we're ready to get you fitted with the best gear for you. We can't wait to see you at Scheels.
The Springboard Mile is Remington Park's top stakes event for 2-year-olds. The race carries Kentucky Derby qualifying points for the 2025 Run for the Roses and will be contested on Friday night, December 13th to close out the season. The field will take shape in the next couple of weeks, but right now there's one Oklahoma bred holding good promise for the race. Already a 2-time stakes winner this season, Mr. Omaha won the Oklahoma Classics Juvenile and then excelled in the Don McNeil Stakes. Furlong to go, out by 4, asked for more, and pulling away easily. All in Okie now, moves into second, ahead of Periscope. And Mr. Omaha is pulling clear, up by 6, Mr. Omaha. Forget the bad start, no troubles in this one to win it by 5. Trainer Joe Offholder has plenty of high hopes for Mr. Omaha, who has already reached a prominent status for the longtime conditioner.
You always got dreams, you know, and he went good, and he's just been such an intelligent horse, which always gives you a head start. He's probably one of my best 2-year-olds I've ever had. You know, I've only, it seemed like before we haven't really pushed our 2-year-olds too much, but this horse was quite a bit mature, so we went on with him. But he's probably one of my better 2-year-olds.
Mr. Omaha was given a new test in the Don McNeil Stakes, asked to go around 2 turns and 1 mile, stretching out from sprint distances for the first time. Offholder expresses his thoughts on the race, which did not start as planned.
completely different than what we had anticipated, because we anticipated that he always broke real sharp sprinting, so we thought he would be up closer to the lead, you know, and then he kind of slipped or something, got away from her just a little slow, and then the other horse come out on him, and then Louis had to really take a good hold of him. And but with Louis on him, I felt a lot better with Louis riding, because I knew he wouldn't get too excited, and he'd know where the finish line was.
Winning the way he won the McNeil has punched the ticket to the Springboard Mile for Mr. Omaha.
That's kind of what we're looking at right now. As long as everything progresses the way we think it will, that's probably a pretty good option for us. He really came back good. You know, he's just, like I said, such an intelligent horse, and he's easy on himself. And I mean, he just comes, when he comes back, his mind, he don't get too rattled. You know, he comes back and eats good and just not too excited. So he does pretty good.
The Remington Park racing schedule moves into the late November session with Monday and Tuesday racing. Action begins at 2:30 p.m. on Monday, November 18th, and Tuesday, November 19th. Then normal 6:30 p.m. start time on Friday and Saturday, November 22nd and 23rd. At Remington Park in Oklahoma City, I'm Dale Day. Now back to Sports Scene.
Thank you, Dale. We'll come back to wrap up the Oklahoma Sports Scene show after we take this final timeout.
As the sun rises over eastern Oklahoma, we are devoted to one thing: improving the health of our communities, our home. We are your friends, your neighbors. We are the people of St. Francis.
Thoroughbred season at Remington Park continues into December with plenty of winning primetime action. The final evening of the season will feature horses trying to reach the 2025 Kentucky Derby by competing in the Springboard Mile. Remington Park's top 2-year-old stakes event of the year leads a stakes-filled program. The normal Remington Park racing week is Wednesday through Saturday, first race nightly 6:30 p.m. Special Monday and Tuesday racing happens in late November at 2:30 p.m. Visit RemingtonPark.com for all post times, group rates, and dining reservations.
This holiday season, experience the magic of Midtown Tulsa's indoor winter wonderland at the Wee Street Ice Center, December 13th to January 5th. Skate on the best indoor ice in Tulsa, ride the enchanting train, and experience snow indoors that'll leave you feeling like you're in a winter fairy tale. Kids will love pictures with Santa, plus special holiday activities. Don't miss out on the season's best family fun. For a full list of activities and times, visit WeStreetIceCenter.com, where every day is a snow day.
Next week on Oklahoma Sports Scene, we'll be back at our base, Wee Street Ice Center. Come out and visit with us there and take a look at that incredible facility. Also, I'll let you know that next week on the show, we'll be talking some TU football. Having a rough season. At their final road game, come back for one more home game. We'll preview that for you. And a good friend of ours, Norm Hitzges, Dallas Radio Hall of Famer, with us on the show before, Dallas Cowboy Insider, and Dallas Cowboy Critic. He does a podcast. One of his recent titles on his podcast was The Dallas Cowboys Suck. Norm Hitzges talks some more football with us next week on Oklahoma Sports Scene. Until then, we always remind you, be a good sport.